Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia, I am a tarot coach and this is your weekly dose of mindful tarot coaching. 3 questions, 6 cards, several interpretations are waiting for you in this video. As always, I invite you to listen carefully, pick what resonates and following your intuition, create your very own personal meaning. Well, having said that, let's get started. And before we dive into the next week's reading, let me, as always, very quickly recap the last week. You may remember that the last week we had the Tower and the Ten of Swords as main significators, and unfortunately I must say that it was very fitting again, because what has been happening so far is pretty much about destruction, being overwhelmed and the like. And very stormy events have shown that indeed Tower energies are at work. Complete paradigms has been shaken ever since, amongst others also mine. And for me, it's kind of overwhelming to make sense out of this, what's happening. And at this point, I would like to invite you to get back to the Hermit, which was the advisor card from last week. And the Hermit invites us to go within, see and explore the light within, and to remember that we can find the inner peace always within. And another interesting message and invitation from the Hermit was to reevaluate things and to really sort out what is really truly important. Well, I think this is a very interesting message, and that's why I wanted to repeat it. All right, then, this was last week, and now we can take a look at the next week's reading and see what is waiting for us there. Well, I can promise only one thing: it is not going to be boring. And what is very interesting about the next week's reading is the polarity of the different forces. So as you will see soon, we have here light and dark, shadow and light and the like. And it is interesting how these different, how this pattern emerges from the reading for next week. But now let's take a look and see what it exactly means. Well, the main significator is the Chariot. And I think this is very, very interesting here, because as you may know, the Chariot is about a very, very strong male impulse. Actually, what we see on this card is a warrior. He is getting into the Chariot in order to explore new horizons or in order to go to war. I'm sorry, but this is really much about war. And what we also see on this card is the polarity of forces, different forces. We have here a dark Sphinx and a white one, and these different opposing forces are trying to draw the Chariot into different directions. And therefore, a very important topic when speaking of this card is these opposing forces and the necessary discipline and goal orientation to keep them together and to remain in the driver's seat. I think that this message of this card is actually very relevant at different levels again. Obviously, in the outside world, this is something that is happening. We are observing how different opposing forces are trying to drive things into one or two other directions. However, I think this reflects also an internal level, an internal state of mind. At least this is the case for when speaking of myself, because what I also experience is a kind of, opposing forces within: optimism, pessimism, fears, hopes, and the like. And therefore, we have here a very interesting invitation and hint to the importance of being strong, remaining in the driver's seat and making sure that I am aligned, I am oriented, I know where I'm heading to, and I am aware of these opposing forces and really try to keep them under control. I think that this is a very, very interesting card here. Another very interesting card is the complementary card from the minor arcana, and that is the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is the card of disappointment and escaping. It pops up often when we have been investing time, energy, money, emotions, or other resources into a project in the hope that it's going to work out. However, it didn't work out the way we expected, and this is what makes us walk away at the end. And therefore, I think this is a very, very interesting complementary card here, because it tells me that yes, someone is trying to give his or her best, pushing things hard. However, chances are that this is not going to work as expected, and as a result, someone is going to give up, someone is going to escape and walk away. Who is going to be this party? I don't know, and I don't want to get into a speculation about this. However, I think that this is a very, very interesting pairing here. All right then, this was the main topic. Now let's take a look at the risks and potentials. And the good news is that we have here two very, very positive cards. The major arcana card is the Sun. And the Sun, as you may know, is all about success, optimism, rising sun, literally. So it is about lightening up, hope, renewal, optimism, and the like. So chances are that the sun is going to rise, meaning that things are going to get better and we are going to experience more optimism, more light, success, or enlightenment and understanding. This is also an interesting aspect of this card. Another interesting aspect is also the renewal and rebirth, which is represented by this naked child. He also stands for inner joy and childlike play. The Sun is all about these things. So I think that this is a very, very positive card, and for me, it gives a lot of hope. This card is paired with the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is all about teamwork and successful cooperation, where different people from all walks of life and from different backgrounds, age, etc. are coming together, and everyone is giving what he or she can. So everyone is contributing with the skill and resources what he or she has. People come together and work together at an eye level, and this way they are beginning a very fruitful cooperation. This reminds me of the very, very heartwarming collaboration what I see in the world if I take a look around. So in spite of all the horrible things that are going on, these two cards and this idea gives me a lot of hope. So putting this together, I can say that yes, this is actually a positive sign, and again we are going to have the chance to experience this rebirth, this optimism, and we are also going to have the chance to collaborate with others in a very fruitful way, approaching and aiming a very, very big project, right? We have here this project as a cathedral, and I think the project that we are facing now is also really big, and that's why everyone's contribution is welcome. All right, last but not least, let's take a look at the last two cards that deliver us advice. And I love this, what comes up here, because after the sun, the moon is also rising. And the moon is all about twilight and darkness. The moon comes up when we don't see things as they are, or when we don't see the whole picture, because we are traveling in the dark, not really knowing where this journey is heading to, not really knowing what comes up, what is going to happen as next. However, we go on trusting that things are getting better, and trusting that our intuition is leading to us to the right path. This is one thing about the moon. The other interesting and important aspect of the moon is all about fears, anxiety, projection, illusions, and the like. So the moon signifies here and brings our attention to the fact that, again, we can be taken away or overwhelmed by our fears and illusions, which is no wonder in light of what is going on in the world. And chances are that these fears are taking the control over. So make sure that you are aware of your fears, of your illusions and projections. Make sure that you try to sort them out, trying to sort out what is realistic, what is not, etc., etc., and try to handle them. And I think a very important thing here, a very fruitful thing here, is to face them, because all what is happening gives us a great opportunity for dealing with our fears. And if you deal with your fears, you can also experience rebirth and renewal. So this is another very interesting aspect of these cards, and I think this is a very positive one. So this is the moon, and the moon is, interestingly enough, is completed by the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is also about restricted perception, distorted perception. You can see on this card that this person is blindfolded, meaning that he or she doesn't really see things as they are. Her perception is restricted. He or she doesn't really know where to move, how to move, and what are the options. And this has a paralyzing effect. So if I put these things together, I would say that yes, our perception is being distorted at the moment, and this is something very, very important to remember. We don't see the whole picture, we don't see the whole thing, we don't really see what everything is going on, and I think this is also something that can give us hope, maybe. And knowing this all, make sure that you don't make big decisions these days, because I think that this might be not the right time for this, for two reasons. Again, because your perception is restricted, and the second reason is that you are obviously not in the right mindset for making long-term important decisions. So I think that this is, again, very, very interesting. And again, these two cards bring us an invitation to be aware of our fears and illusions and anxieties, to know that we don't see things as they are, we don't see the big picture, and accordingly, it's better not to make an important move or to make an important decision, but it's important to remember that these forces are at work at the moment, and accordingly we have to trust, and we have to also free ourselves from the bondages that are self-imposed, right? Because some of these fears and illusions are self-imposed restriction. This is another interesting aspect of this. All right, then, I think that this is super, super interesting again. And now let's take a look at the whole constellation. All right, then, just a second. I have to adjust the camera. Okay, so again, the next week is going to be about a very, very strong male impulse. Things are rolling. Someone is pushing something hard. However, this may end up in disappointment. See what it exactly means. We have a great card here with the sun. It gives us a lot of hope, and so it means that things may get better and we can enter into fruitful collaborations with other people. And our task is going to be to know that we are restricted, to know that we don't see things as they are, and accordingly to free ourselves from the bondage of these fears and illusions so far as we can, and this way support this renewal. I would like to highlight again the interesting balance of dark and light and black and white forces here, which is also showing up here with the moon and the sun. No, the other way around, moon and the sun. All right, you can ask yourself questions like, what are the things that I'm not seeing or I don't want to see? What kinds of illusions and anxieties are taking over? And last but not least, what I can do. So how can I contribute to the big project so that I can support this positive turn? Well, this is a question that I also ask myself, and that is why I have decided to make a special action. So, in case you would like to have a tarot coaching session with me, now you have the chance. You can make it now on a donation basis, and your donation is going to be donated to refugee initiatives that are supporting war victims. So this is a great chance for you to get a personalized 90 minutes tarot coaching session with me. Please spread the word about this, because I would like to collect as much money as I can. And again, this is going to be 100% donated to refugee initiatives. Thanks a lot for showing up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your attention. I wish you, I wish you that you can remain in the driver's seat and remain positive. See you next week again. Till then, take care of yourselves. Ciao.